If I told you that I didn't want to drive to the shops today because I might die in a car crash in 10 years' time, would you laugh at me? If I told you I couldn't bake muffins today because I might burn down my kitchen in 20 years' time, would you think that was ridiculous? How about if I told you I couldn't start homeschooling my children because they might not get into university in 15 years' time? What about if I said I couldn't homeschool my 4-year-old child because he might not turn out okay when he leaves home as an adult? Do you see what I'm getting at here? Let's talk about it. This is episode number 67 of the Raising Mums podcast. Welcome to Raising Mums, a live weekly broadcast streaming on Facebook and Instagram that inspires mums to live with purpose and intention, to raise their children mindfully, and empowers mothers everywhere to own their lives and thrive doing it. So I'll admit that those examples I gave at the beginning were a little bit far-fetched, but at the same time, I get emails and messages from you almost every day telling me that you have dreams and ambitions to homeschool your children, but you're worried that they won't get into a good university, that they won't have the social skills that they need to find the right wife, find the right husband, succeed in their careers. And then when I inquire how old your children are, I'm told they're 2 or 3 or 4 years old. And those fears of the future in 15 or more years away are holding you back from making a decision today. Why is it that when you want to make a decision, a big decision, an important decision, most of us become paralyzed with confusion? Should we do A? Should we do B? Should we homeschool? Should we send them to the local school? Should we send them to a private school? Should we send them to a public school? If we do homeschool, what kind of homeschool are we going to have? We confuse ourselves with all the information. And then we get confused about how we're going to do it. How are we going to get our 2-year-old from the point that she is at now to be able to get into a top university? How are we going to get our 4-year-old son to the point where he can go and study medicine or economics or whatever it is that we have ambitions for? How are we going to do it if we homeschool? Or maybe you're not even interested about academics. For you, maybe it's more about religious matters. Or maybe you just want to know that your child will be happy. You want to know the exact step-by-step process of how to get there. Your brain is telling you that if you do not know the step-by-step process to get from here to there, then you can't make that leap. I want to tell you a story of when I have felt confused. Just recently, I was sitting in a class listening to my teacher, and he was telling us stories of the great people of the past, great men and women who are remembered in our Islamic history, who are remembered even in the Quran, like Maryam alayhi salam, Khadija, Asiya, may Allah be pleased with them all. And I was listening to their stories and I instantly felt so inadequate. And it's okay to feel inadequate because compared to them, of course I am. Of course I have so far to grow. But I started to feel so disheartened. How can somebody like me, who is so far from that reality, ever get to a station like that, ever get anywhere close to the state that those women were in? I could not see how I could get from where I am now to be like those great women, which I desperately, desperately want to do. But in that moment, alhamdulillah, I had a moment of clarity when I realized that that thought was not serving me. That feeling disheartened and defeated was not going to help me achieve that goal of getting closer to Allah, of being more pious and being more righteous and spiritual. And isn't it fascinating how my brain, my lower self, shaitan, whatever it was telling me to give up. Don't even bother trying, it was saying. You can't do that because you don't know how to get there. But really all I needed to do, all I'm being asked to do, just to begin that journey, is to take the next step. I didn't need to know the exact path, step by step, of how to get from this lowly state I'm in now to those high heights. All I need to know right now is the next step. The step that my teacher was teaching us in that class. That is all I needed to take in that moment. Just the next step. And instantly those feelings of confusion, of feeling lost and overwhelmed, vanished. All I needed to focus on was doing the next thing, and then Allah will show me the way. So perhaps you want to start homeschooling your children, but you don't know how in the future you're going to prepare for external exams, how you're going to apply for college or for university. But right now, when your children are whatever age they're at, what is the next step you need to do? Get real with yourself. Is it that you need to look up your local, the laws where you live? Is it that you want to reach out to other homeschoolers in your area, connect with your local homeschool co-op and see what's going on? Is it that you want to read a good homeschooling book to get some ideas and get some inspiration? You know what the next step is. That's all you're required to do right now. Or maybe you're already homeschooling. Again, you don't need to know every step of the way. What do you need to do right now? Do you need to buy a few more books so that you have something in place to educate your son or daughter for the next few months? Do you need to take a course in homeschooling? Do you need to find some local sports classes that your son or daughter can join in the evenings? Or maybe you're really in the thick of homeschooling now. You've been doing it for years, but things are not going that well. Maybe your son has reached a level in maths where you feel like you can no longer help him. So instead of jumping ahead and thinking, how are we going to prepare for GCSEs? How are we going to prepare for university if I can't teach my son maths now? Instead of allowing your brain to go there, think about what is the next step you need to take. Maybe that's going online and looking for virtual classes in maths. Maybe that's, calling one of your friends who's got older kids and asking, how did you teach maths as they got older? You know what you need to do next. Do not allow your fears, your nafs, shaitan, whatever, to allow you to be scared, to allow you to get confused and overwhelmed. I've said this 100 times and I'm going to say it again. All you need to do is take the next step. So before we carry on with the rest of this episode, I want to tell you about a free resource on my website that I think you're going to love. You know that reading to your children is important, but it can be so overwhelming to choose from the thousands of books that are out there. And you don't want to invest any more time, any more money in books only to be disappointed at the end of it all. You want books that your children will enjoy, books that they'll learn from, and books that are suitable for Muslim families. That's why my team and I at Our Muslim Homeschool have put together a list of the best children's books for Muslim children aged 0 through to 5. They are books that every Muslim child needs in their life, and you can get that book list for free now. Just head over to ourmuslimhomeschool.com/booklist to get your free copy of this book list today. That's ourmuslimhomeschool.com/booklist to download your free book list for Muslim children aged 0 through to 5. But how do you decide what the next step is? What if it feels like there are so many possibilities, so many options? How do you decide what the next step you should take is? When you have to make a decision, it's always good to first pray istikhara prayer. If you're not sure what that is, I will leave a link in the show notes so you can find out more about how to do that prayer. It's also good to collect as much information as you can that will help you to make that decision. And it's always good to seek advice from people who you trust and those people who have knowledge or experience in that topic that you're making a decision around. But then what? Sometimes I get questions like this in my group coaching calls inside Launch Your Homeschool. Sometimes I'm even fortunate to speak to the ladies inside Launch Your Homeschool one-on-one, and they tell me they're confused about something. They're not sure what to do. And I have learnt that the best thing that I can say to help these sisters in this situation to make a decision is, if you did know what to do, what would it be? They might say, I want to start doing things more formally in our home now. I want to start and put a curriculum together. But there's so much out there. I just don't know what to do. I'm getting so confused. I said, okay. And then they'll tell me all the different options they've looked at, all the different websites, all the different podcasts, all the different curriculum that people they know use. They say they're getting overwhelmed by it all. And again, the best thing I can do is repeat myself. But if you did know what to do, what would you do? And they always know. They always know what the decision is that they need to make, what the next step is. And so right now, if you are doubtful about what I'm saying here, if you don't believe me that you know deep down what you need to do, then I want you to do that coaching on yourself. I want you to take a piece of paper and write on it the decision, the issue that you're having problems with. So at the top of the paper, you might write, I don't know what curriculum to use, or I don't know what extracurriculars to do, or I don't know if we should homeschool, all of whatever it is. And then underneath that, write out everything that your brain is telling you about that topic. Write it all out, all the concerns you have, all the options there are, all the different things you've heard, everything that you can think of about that topic, write it out. And then at the bottom, write, but if I did know what to do, I would ... And then fill in the blank. Because I guarantee you know what you need to do. So I challenge you today to stop being confused. Make a decision. Take the next step. I want to leave you with a quote from Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him. He is quoted as saying, the faith of a person cannot be true until he has more trust in what is in Allah's hands than what is in his own hands. Thank you so much for joining me here today. As always, I would appreciate if you could go over to wherever you're listening to this podcast and leave a 5-star review or leave a written review telling people why you enjoy tuning into the Raising Mums podcast. Don't forget to pick up your free book list for Muslim children aged 0 to 5 from the website ourmuslimhomeschool.com/booklist. Take care, everyone. Have a beautiful week. Assalamu alaikum.